Welcome. Good evening. That's what I do, isn't it? Good evening. Try again. Good evening. That's better.
That's not Micah Kubik better, but
No,
it's better.
no, you did better for Micah. So one more time. Good evening. Yay. All right. My name's Betty Taylor, and I am a co-host of this organization, and this is Tommy Faust,
The other one.
the technical one, because this wouldn't work if I was just in charge. Anyway, we had some meetings via Zoom of all the leaders and strategic planning and all that, and we kind of revised some of our priorities and our mission statement. So they suggested that we have our mission statement and our priorities read at the beginning of a meeting, so you guys know what we're all about in case you didn't know. So Tommy, take it away.
Vision, mission, and priorities? All three?
Mission,
Just mission?
mission and priorities.
Okay. So the mission statement is the mission of Women for Kansas is to recruit, motivate, and educate women in all Kansans to actively participate in the process of electing moderates to public office who will advocate for moderate policies. Our legislative priorities are a fair, progressive tax system that adequately funds public services, a court system free from political influence, equal rights for all, reproductive rights and bodily autonomy, separation of church and state. Getting
louder.
I know. Advocacy of healthcare as a human right, stronger laws to prevent gun violence, preservation of excellence in public schools and higher education, recognition of and support for the arts as vital to our quality of life, and protection of our environment and ecosystems against avoidable degradation.
Yay. Thank you. It took us a little bit to get that kind of reworked from where it was before, but I think that pretty well sums it up. And we have what? 12? No, not 12. 11 chapters across the state.
Including Pittsburgh.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to delay because I'm sure they have a great program for us tonight. We are pleased to have, and they also brought the goodies over here. So they get the credit, we don't. So thank you very much. These folks are from the Climate and Energy Project, which Dorothy Barnett was hoping to be here tonight, but apparently she's a little under the weather, which I can certainly relate to. But we are pleased to have Christina Haswood, who is Program Director, Scott Alguerci. Where did you go, Scott? He's in the back of the room. And Maddie Salzer. So they will be talking to us about the proposed fossil fuel plants Evergy's proposing for Reno and Sumner County, and why that might not be such a great idea. I have to admit it will create jobs, but we'll find out the other things.
Hi.
Let's give her a round of applause, please.
Hi. Hello. We actually use these in the legislature. So I'm a former legislator. Get a little PSD. No, I'm just kidding. But my name is Christina Haswood. I'm with Climate Energy Project, CEP, and I am one of our program directors. We actually grew almost threefold in the past 6 months. There was only 3 folks in CEP, and now there's about 9 of us. And then we have an intern here, Maddie. There we go. She's a KU student, and we are located in Lawrence. Oh, I forgot where I was for a minute. I heard a boo. But yeah, I'm going to present to you all today on a presentation. If I can just exit out real quick right here. And I will see if I can share my screen. All right. So I'm going to talk today, and me and my colleague Scott Allegrucci here will give his presentation afterwards. How many of y'all know that there's going to be a natural gas plant proposed here? Raise your hands. Awesome. Awesome. I like to see that folks are informed and staying civically engaged. This is in your backyard. So it's a range of knowledge across the state. We presented in Salina, Wichita, and then here and there in Topeka during our Wealth Day. And you'd be surprised how many folks don't really know that this is happening and going on. It's definitely, I feel like, flying a bit under the radar. So one of our biggest goals is to try and meet with as many communities as we can during this public comment period of this docket to help educate folks on what's going on. This is Evergy's proposal of 2 fossil gas plants. The docket number is 25 EKCE 207 PRE.
Betty, are you on?
All right, and this is a little bit what we'll be covering today. And this is a QR code if you want to get your phone and scan. We have on the Climate Energy Project website links, articles to help support our argument and talking points. We also have a list of how you can take action. We're going to have an ask from you today, if you haven't already, to give public comment to the Kansas Corporation Commission, the KCC. And we are going to offer a video option that Scott will talk a little bit more about called JOG, but there's also the good old-fashioned way of going to the KCC website, hitting submit public comments, or also mailing or emailing your comments as well. You can also go to bit.ly/snowfossilgaskcc, and that will take you to the same landing page as well. Just a shortened link instead of a whole 50-letter link. So what is fossil gas? We use the term fossil gas for a lot of folks because I feel like natural gas is a bit misleading. You're still using non-renewable resources. You're still going into the ground and mining the resource. So as you all probably know, fossil gas or natural gas plants use non-renewable resources from our planet to fuel and burn energy to make electricity. This mine gas is sent through pipelines to a processing plant to be converted into energy. These plants produce methane and are prone to methane leakages from the mining stage to the household generating electricity. All right, are you all familiar with this process? Raise of hand of fossil gas from the ground to in your homes. Raise them high. Great. So just a few. I'm going to try and play this video, and it shows you all the way the process from mining it to the ground to natural gas coming into your home. So let me see if the volume works here.
Natural gas. Natural gas is primarily methane, or CH4, with smaller quantities of other hydrocarbons. It was formed millions of years ago when dead organisms sunk to the bottom of the ocean and were buried under deposits of sedimentary rock. Subject to intense heat and pressure, these organisms underwent a transformation in which they were converted to gas over millions of years. Natural gas is found in underground rocks called reservoirs. The rocks have tiny spaces called pores that allow them to hold water, natural gas, and sometimes oil. The natural gas is trapped underground by impermeable rock called a cap rock and stays there until it is extracted. Natural gas can be categorized as dry or wet. Dry gas is essentially gas that contains mostly methane. Wet gas, on the other hand, contains compounds such as ethane and butane, in addition to methane. These natural gas liquids, or NGLs for short, can be separated and sold individually for various uses, such as in refrigerants and to produce products like plastics. Conventional natural gas can be extracted through drilling wells. Unconventional forms of natural gas, like shale gas, tight gas, sour gas, and coal bed methane, have specific extraction techniques. Natural gas can also be found in reservoirs with oil and is sometimes extracted alongside oil. This type of natural gas is called associated gas. In the past, associated gas was commonly flared or burned as a waste product, but in most places today it is captured and used. Once extracted, natural gas is sent through small pipelines called gathering lines to processing plants, which separate the various hydrocarbons and fluids from the pure natural gas to produce what is known as pipeline quality dry natural gas before it can be transported. Processing involves 4 main steps to remove the various impurities: oil and condensate removal, water removal, separation of natural gas liquids, sulfur and carbon dioxide removal. Gas is then transported through pipelines called feeders to distribution centers or is stored in underground reservoirs for later use. In some cases, gas is liquefied for shipping in large tankers across oceans. This type of gas is called liquefied natural gas, or LNG. Natural gas is mostly used for domestic or industrial heating and to generate electricity. It can also be compressed and used to fuel vehicles and as a feedstock for fertilizers, hydrogen fuel cells, and other chemical processes. Natural gas development, especially in the United States, has increased as a result of technological advances in horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing. When natural gas is burned, there are fewer greenhouse gas emissions and air pollutants when compared to other fossil fuels. In fact, when used to produce electricity, natural gas emits approximately half the carbon emissions of coal. Despite fewer emissions, natural gas is still a source of CO2. In addition, methane is a potent greenhouse gas itself, having nearly 24 times the impact of CO2. During the extraction and transportation process, natural gas can escape into the atmosphere and contribute to climate change. Natural gas leaks are also dangerous to nearby communities because it is a colorless, odorless, highly toxic, and highly explosive gas. That's natural gas.
So that video briefly goes over the process of from the ground to getting mined into the processing plant and getting into folks' homes. And I feel like it's a little bit easier to understand. I don't have a background in working in utilities or the field. As I previously said, my background is actually in public health, and I was a state legislator from 2021 to 2024. I wasn't on any utilities committees, so when I was put onto this project, I had to start from the ground and trying to learn as much as I can as fast as I can. And we're finding that folks oftentimes don't know of this happening and how this works. And tapping back into that public health background, some of the public health consequences and concerns of being near fossil gas plants are probably what you imagine: some respiratory health concerns of asthma, respiratory disease, air pollution. We saw recently with wildfires across Kansas and other states, when it's a windy day or a couple windy days, that smoke and that pollution travels miles and miles from different communities. I know in Lawrence, it was really hard to see across town, and that's how far that traveled. And when I think about these gas plants, I think about you all, the city of Hutchinson and its residents. The second gas plant is proposed in Sumner County, so I think of the residents as well there. I think of rural folks, families, agriculture, animals and plants, and those types of environmental consequences and health concerns. But one of the biggest things is we need to continue to put the pressure on these companies that have these sustainable, renewable energy promises, right? Fossil gas is not the only option, nor is it the most affordable in the long run. If utility companies put their best efforts in renewables, wind and solar, we could all be saving money. Renewable energy not only is reliable, affordable, and sustainable, but is the best option for our environment and our families and our planet as well. So how many of y'all know what the KCC is? Hands raised. All right. I would say about 80% of y'all. So a quick rundown, the Kansas Corporation Commission, also known as the KCC, is 3 members. They have 4-year terms and they're appointed by the governor. These are our 4 commissioners. It's nonpartisan. It differs between state to state. Every state has a public utilities commission, and they might name it something different like we did here in Kansas. Some of the other states, these commission members might be 5 or more. I think Kansas might be on the lower end of this. In other states too, they have to run for office and be elected to their commissions. So that really shows the uniqueness of how this is, this process is and how these folks get to there. They have 2 main responsibilities is rates. So I don't know if any of y'all are following the legislative process. I heard some mm-hms when we were talking about values earlier and how the legislative in Topeka is doing some crazy things. So here in the KCC area, they have dockets and numbers. So like in the legislature, there's HB 1234, SB 123. Here in the KCC land, it's a docket number dash letters. So that's how you can identify it and know exactly what docket you're talking about. Also, the KCC is responsible reviewing utility projects such as this one, of what Evergy is proposing. And currently right now, if you go to the KCC website and look up this docket number, you often find in these dockets a timeline of when public comment is, when are they proposed to submit feedback, and a lot of the documents of interveners are on there as well. It's about maybe, I don't know, Maddie, was it 20 pages of dockets? If you want to sit down on a Saturday morning or a weekday and read them, good information there, but it's definitely helps you get familiarized with what's happening in other perspectives as well. So we're currently in the public comment period. The last day for public comment on this exact docket is April 7th, Monday, April 7th at 5 p.m. When you want to get your public comment in. They had virtual public comment on March 5th, and that was via Zoom. You can go to the KCC YouTube, and they have that recorded, and you can listen to presentations from the CURB, Citizens Utility Ratepayer Board, and also presentations of Evergy talking about this docket, and folks of our state giving testimony as well in different perspectives. So this is a quick 3-step summary of how utilities make money off of us. I like to envision this as utility processes spending, so that would be this docket. Regulators review and approve the KCC. Currently now, the KCC is reviewing this docket, and they represent us as Kansans. And this is the point where we can actually pump the brakes on Evergy in this docket and have a say and an opinion on where we want the direction of Kansas and clean energy to go. In this docket as well, it includes a utility scale solar north of Lawrence. So if you haven't submitted public comment or you want to submit it again and add it, we definitely recommend that you support, say your support for that, but maybe say in opposition of the 2 natural fossil gas plants as well. And then utilities recover money from customers, us, the ratepayers. This is what they call a predetermination docket, which means that our taxpayer money will be fronting the cost of the construction. And that's kind of the process of how this is all going and the issues of this. So Evergy is a utility monopoly. They have shareholders and stockholders. They have businesses who are financially invested into their company to continue to climb those profits and margins. A lot different from co-ops, from city community-ran utilities. This profit model is focused on making more profit every single year. They do make money off of us of providing energy, but majority of where they're going to get that bang for their buck for their shareholders on Wall Street is proposing these really expensive plants, right? These two gas plants, when they first put this docket in, was estimated at $2 billion. We heard a couple days ago in Wichita from a representative on the House Utilities Committee say that that is estimating to climb up to about $3 billion. So it's really interesting to see how this is continuing to climb. They make most of the profits from the labor, the construction, the materials and the wires and all that. And who has to pick up the tab at the end of the day? We do. Our taxpayer monies do as well. So this is another big point in this, is that our taxpayer, our hard-earned money is going to be used one way, and we should have a say in where it goes. And I really like this model. It really shows the chaos of everything that's happening, right? And all of this is happening at the same time. All this has been happening for the past 10 years. We see over here on the left-hand side that investors push utilities to hike energy bills and suppress competition. You know, I live in Lawrence. I have no choice but to be an Evergy customer, and that was designed by a variety of decisions that the KCC regulates as well. Utilities spend profits from high energy bills to investors of their Wall Street investors, and that cycle is going on constantly. We have here customers pay high energy bills to utilities, right? We often are having to cover the cost of these construction. And on the right-hand side, utility spends energy bill revenue to influence government. Now, I know as a former legislator, there is definitely lobbyists from Evergy, lobbyists from Black Hills and other utilities, and I can guarantee the same goes for those in Washington, D.C. as well, influencing policy, wining and dining legislators to hope to get their vote in favor in the legislative side. Government maintains utility monopoly blocks, local energy democracy, and then here at the bottom, these 4 orange blocks are just a few of the consequences of this model, right? This investor-owned utility model. Energy democracy decreases, right? Like I said, folks in my community don't really have this on their radar. It's not guaranteed that these plants are gonna open jobs to local folks, right? Oftentimes companies will hire whoever's the cheapest labor. There's no guarantee that it's gonna go to union labor as well. High energy bills, right? We're having to help cover their cost, and environmental harms previously mentioned. So I'm going to transition into the jog portion, but we have a really cool opportunity. At CEP, we're partnering with JOG, and Scott will talk more about that. But basically, it's another way of giving your public comment and opinion. If you scan this QR code, you'll see a video of me and my jog, and I covered a couple of talking points that I presented with you tonight. But also, I think this is a really unique tool if you know what you want to say right now. Filming it in a video and in that video form and content, JOG will transcribe your video verbatim, and we will, as CEP, submit that testimony on your behalf to the KCC in opposition, unless you otherwise state so. And if you rather go the more traditional route of providing public comment to the KCC website, I just wanted to show you what to expect on that end. And we also have some sheets by the chip box as well that has the QR code. We have 3 sample scripts if you want to focus on a certain issue area, and we have a think sheet as well if you want to take a couple minutes to organize your thoughts for public comment. We also have gift cards. Matt, you want to wave them up? From Metropolitan Coffee, $5 gift cards. If you'd like to make a jog video or a public comment today, we would love to hand you a gift card as well. But here is the thought sheet, and this is what it looks like. We'll have a few prompts here, and you can formulate your opinions. Even your public comment could be a question to the KCC, right? So this is a great way to create a script. When I made my jog, I put it in a script. I wrote every single thing I said down on paper, and that just works better for me. So this is the Kansas Corporation Commission website. This is what it looks like if you go there. You'll want to click your opinion matters over here, and then it'll take you to this page. And then down here, public comments are being accepted on Evergy's proposed gas plant solar facility. There is a couple options if you want to view the docket details and all interveners and their testimony. You can click there. But then you want to submit a public comment, and click that. And you'll be taken to this page, and make sure that the docket number is correct. Sometimes there's multiple dockets happening at the same time. And click comment. So this is the page where you will submit public comment if you want to do that in a written format. You can see that there is 4 required fields when you submit public comment. First name, last name, the city that you live in, and your opinion. You have 3 options of opinion if you are for this, if you're in opposition of this docket, or if you're neutral. And we did find out that there is a character max limit of 2,000. So if you find that your public comment is too long, you can actually email it to kcc.public.affairs@ks.gov. So I highly recommend that you write down your public comment in a Microsoft document somewhere else and copy and paste into here so you don't lose that as well. So I'm going to hand it over to Scott, and feel free to, I think after his presentation, we'll take some questions.
Thanks, Christina. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about, I'm going to stay at the microphone, which will be hard. I'll tell you a little bit about who I am and why I'm here, but I want to point out that there are several partners in this campaign. They're listed up here. I hope that Women for Kansas could be considered an unofficial partner after this evening. But the Climate Energy Project is the Climate Energy Project is the sort of official partner working with JOG. I'll tell you a little bit about JOG, the company that I work for now. And Kansas Sierra Club, Kansas Interfaith Action, and Loud Light have all joined with us to help gather videos. So a little bit about why I'm actually in the room. Do I advance it over here? Oh, here we go. So I have a wide-ranging background. I've worked for 2 governors, most recently for Governor Kelly. I was the first, her first director of appointments, and I left the governor's office to go to the job I'm at now. Which has that really weird long title, but mostly what it means is that I'm on loan from JOG, the company. I do other stuff for the company. We have a pediatric hospital client in Nebraska that I do work with, and we have some movie studios that I do work with. JOG is a marketing tool. It's a video acquisition marketing tool. But I joined the company with the explicit deal with the founder that I could take this tool and try to get it into the hands of climate activists, right? That's what I do. And you can see my background. I mean, I worked for, I was actually the second employee of the Climate Energy Project when it was formed still as a project of the Land Institute in opposition to the Holcomb coal plant. And then I left the Land Institute, the Climate Energy Project at that time, and I ran a separate nonprofit organization in opposition to coal-fired power at that time. Went on to work for the Sierra Club Beyond Coal campaign, worked for the Western Clean Energy campaign, a couple of other things. I'm deeply invested in this issue set. But to be clear, I no longer am an employee. I mean, Christina is very kind to call me a colleague. She's kind of above my pay grade, but I work with Climate Energy Project and have been working with them for a long time, for a while as an employee and now as a partner. So JOG is, what is it? Well, one thing that's important, you may have seen, I have some television, film, theater background. I had a part of my life where I did that professionally. And the CEO and founder of JOG is actually a KU film student. he was a student of Kevin Wilmot's, and that's how we met. And then Chris, this guy, founder and CEO, took it out. He took a film out into the world that I helped him with, and then he learned a lot of things you learn when you take a film out into the world. He got connected at the Disney Accelerator, which was sort of a tech accelerator, and then met a bunch of people involved in tech doing some interesting work. And he pitched this idea and got investors, and off he went to the races. JOG it's sliced bread, but it's still sliced bread, right? It's not a magic, it's not a silver bullet, it's just a tool. It is a way to go out into the world and get lots of video from lots of different people using a cell phone, right? You can also use a laptop. You can use anything that has a camera. And what it does is it goes out and grabs all that candid video, and then it pulls it back to whoever wants that video, the client, right? In this case, that's the Climate and Energy Project. And what happens is the sort of secret sauce, which is not unique only to JOG, is that all those videos are time code stamped and verbatim transcribed. Verbatim, 100%, right? So the verbatim transcriptions and the time-coded video live together in a word searchable database. So that's super handy for overworked small nonprofit organizations in particular, because one or two people can do the work. If you start getting a lot of videos in and you want to find, where's that video where that woman she mentioned a calico cat? I don't know, 50, 100 videos. I don't remember who that was. Type in calico cat, boom. Every video where anyone mentions or any reference to a calico cat is, you get the video right on screen, and then you can do what you want to do with that. So that's part of the efficacy or the power of the tool from the Climate and Energy Project side. I'm going to talk a little bit more about why video is important. But in particular, citizen videos are really powerful for elected decision makers. It's a busy world. We're all dealing with the reality that I've heard this described. I heard this actually described by a congressman from Massachusetts, and it made a lot of sense, but I'd never heard the phrase, but I really like it. He talked about how we are now, you've heard the term attention economy, right? Does that sound familiar? And we all live in it now, and he talked about that the attention economy is an economy where our attention, that is our thoughts, and where we direct our thoughts and our attention, is being fracked, right? It's being fractured and then processed and sold back to us and sold off to other people, right? So that's the world in which we live. Would that it weren't so, from my personal opinion, right? But there it is, and there are upsides to this, of course. But one of the challenges is that there are a lot of ways to get messages across, and video is particularly powerful. When I was doing previous work, advocacy work, I remember this was a long time ago. It was before video, before the internet was really big, before social media, and I remember driving 500, 800 postcards to individual legislators in Kansas. They had, to that point, never seen that many postcards on a particular issue. That was really effective then. At this point, 500 postcards maybe get you a phone call, right? The fact that video presents the faces and the voices of actual people together makes it particularly powerful. It's also the sort of native currency of communication for our culture, right? For those of us who are over a certain age, it's not as native. For our kids and in some cases grandkids, it's totally native. I have a 16-and-a-half-year-old son, and I'm sorry to say he knows how to read. I read to him every day of his life when he was a young child, but he doesn't read. I mean, it's all video in terms of like the currency of his day-to-day life with his friends. He's a big football player. He loves football. He'll watch, I would wager, 50 or 60 football videos in a day. Analysis of games from when I was a kid. I mean, he knows the game better than I do through video, right? It's through all those videos. So these value propositions are really important when you think about video. So real quickly, right here, I want to stop and say very clearly, I'm advocating, I strongly encourage you, for reasons we can talk more about, to submit comment on this Evergy proposal. Do it however you want to do it. Just submit comment. They need to hear from us. A fact that I'll add to Christina's introduction, the 3 KCC commissioners that she showed you, there are about 200 public utilities commissioners in the United States. Collectively, collectively, those 200 PUC commissioners control 1% of the United States GDP. If you break it down and assign it on a per commissioner basis, this isn't how it works, but if you were to figure out an average of how much capital investment individual PUC commissioners are responsible for in a year, $1 billion. Each one of them, essentially, $1 billion of investment. This is real money, big money. It's going to last a long time. Whatever the KCC decides about these Evergy gas plants, we're going to be, most of us, I'm sorry to say in this room, will be gone before those are paid off. It's going to be 30 or 40 years before they're being paid. And I don't know if you've looked at your natural gas bills lately, but since Hurricane Uri, the price of, in 10 days, the price of natural gas went up 220,000% in 10 days. $622 million just for the gas that we're still paying off, on top of the cost of plants, on top of rate increases for other costs, on top of the other things we have to pay for. So I was thinking about the mission statement and the value proposition, or the values that you listed for this organization, and there's an argument to be made. I mean, Christina mentioned something. There are at least questions to be asked in each one of those value categories about proposals like these gas plants, right? So there are a number of reasons one might be opposed, but there are certainly interesting questions to ask. And as Christina mentioned, one's comments to the KCC can really just be questions. Like, it could just simply be, you know, thank you for your time. I'm Scott. I live in Douglas County. There are 3 things I don't understand about this. 1, 2, 3, I really hope that you can answer these with your decision, right? You don't have to be adamant, although if you are, that's awesome too. But you can just ask questions, and it raises these issues. And there aren't enough people like you and I doing that. Need to be more of us. So if you'll permit me, I'm just going to play a video. It's about 4 minutes.
Hello, I'm Felix Rivello, and I just want to say that we can save our planet and lower consumer energy costs by replacing unreliable and expensive fossil energy with renewable energy. So I strongly oppose the 2 proposed natural gas plants.
My name is Ryan Sims from Hutchinson, Kansas, and I'm a concerned citizen about if we have more gas plants, what it would do with the crack on the road. It would create more fracking. It's a harm to the environment. It's gonna kill the animals and all that. Not good for the humans if we have more of them. So it's more expensive. And it's one single winter storm in 2021 collapsed the regional foster gas system and caused gas plants to fall, cutting all power to millions of customers, resulting in hundreds of deaths. Gas plant failures accounted for about 60% of the power failures in that single storm. And gas plants failed at about that same rate in several other winter storms in the last decade. And I don't know what else to say.
My name is Sally O'Connor. I live in Hutchinson. I'm really concerned about the climate and about the effect of this plant. I am a proponent of renewable energy. Thank you.
My name's Stephanie Tucker, and I'm against the new Evergy plant in Kansas. We need to focus on renewable energy instead of fossil fuels. Yes, it will create 500 jobs, but only initially. After that, it is only up to 40 jobs. I would support this new plant if it was for solar or wind energy. We need to be concerned about the future of our planet, and this is not the road we need to be on.